This is the water that's collecting in the back of my yard as the snow melts. It collects right there. You can see it's pretty good size right now. It's going to get bigger as the snow continues to melt, but we got to get the water out of there. There's a hole that goes down directly from that area, but it just goes straight down, and once it's filled, then the water just continues to fill up in this area. So I've got to get the water out. So for this project, I'm going to use several different tools. I'm going to use this as my main purpose hand pump, and then of course a hose. I've got several hoses actually that I'll probably connect to each other using this Teflon tape. I've got this one that connects pieces together. I've got this thingy, 1.5 inch to 1 1/4 inch. I've got this that goes between the two different styles of pipe threads, and then this is going to go on the end. And basically what I want to do is create a big siphon that's going to go from one end of my yard to take the water that's building up from all the snow and all the rain and take it to the other end of the yard where it can get rid of that water before it just destroys the grass. Okay, so you can see how this goes together. We have the actual pump right here. It's down there. It's going to hook to this piece. It's going to slide on right over the top of it and crank it down on it, which is good. This one will slide in here and crank it down on it. This one will change between the hoses that are used for this versus the threads that are used for a hose. So this one will go in here and this one will go in there, and then will actually be attached to a hose. And we're going to attach several hoses together using some Teflon tape, make sure it's nice and tight, and then we'll go from there. So once all those pieces go together, it looks like this. We've got the tube connected to the actual hose, and as it siphons, the water will come in here. So now for the other end of the hose, we put some Teflon on here. We're going to connect it to this piece. This piece is just nice and heavy, and it's got the hole and everything in it. It's meant to be a hose end, and so it's going to go on the hose, but this will actually go down in the water, and I'm hoping that this extra metal will cause it to sink. As we go out here near the water, you can see the water is piled up here, and it goes way down there, and that's where the big end is. That's where the part that actually goes down into the ground is there, and then it floods over to the fireplace. Anyway, my goal is to try to get this heavy end in there without having to go through the water too much. I'm hoping to just be able to toss it and see if it goes. This way you can see how deep that water is with the hose underneath it. Once that hose goes down there, it's just going to stay down there. It's not going to float. And I'll start sucking some water up through it. I'm going to get it in the center there. And we'll go from there. As we start to connect the hoses to each other, just make sure that the one hose is nice and wrapped so that it doesn't cause any leaks, which would make it not work so well. But there's where it's at right now. And then I'm going to hook these two hoses together, and we'll go further that way. I got to get out towards the street. So we have the hose going from the back of the yard, coming all the way. We actually have 3 hoses connected to each other. And it comes all the way out to about here, which puts us fairly close to the street. Not too bad. And we need to get the water from that end over the little hill and then back down to here. And then it should begin to siphon the water. So I'm gonna hook the siphon to it, and then we'll go from there. So after I cranked on that for quite a while, it actually started having water come out. And you can see it right here. The water's coming out slowly. I was hoping it was gonna go faster, but it's not. I've done it before, and this is slow. I've just never used the pipe before. But I used this thing, hooked to the end of that, sucked it and sucked it and sucked it, and did it nice and slow. And now the water's coming from way over there, over the hill, down through here, where it'll drain out to the street that direction. The good news is I didn't have to go through so much water. I got my shoes a little bit wet, but not bad. And I didn't have to traipse through all that water over there to get that done. And it's working, which is good. Okay, so the hose is set up. I want you to see how deep this water is over here, even by the fireplace. It's a couple inches deep. And then it goes out to the hole. And now the hole's got a connection. It goes all the way to the front and dumps out near the street, up over the hill. And it's gonna slowly take the water out of here. It may take a day or two. And it's gonna rain tomorrow too, so it could take a while. And hopefully we get this cleared up so we have nice grass this summer. So this is the next morning. I went out to check it, and it is frozen. So I'm curious to see what that does. I believe it's still gonna run once it thaws out. So we'll see. So I recorded this earlier today. It was frozen, and now it's unfrozen, and it's working again, which
which is interesting. And then back there is the lake. So I came out here by the lake and you can see it's still down there. It's still doing its thing. And it's raining a little bit today. But it'll keep doing its thing, emptying the water out. And it'll take a while, a couple days, especially once it stops raining. So it's been a few days and it's starting to kind of get warm out, and this pond is frozen. You go down to the end and there's nothing coming out because the whole thing is frozen. Like you can hear it. So this is where I broke the ice before. And I'm just curious to see how deep it is. Oh man. What? Check it out. Check it out. There's no water underneath there because this thing sucked it all up. That's amazing. So for fun here, we're going to take a peek down inside here and see what it looks like underneath. Nice house. You can see there's grass and stuff underneath there. Cool. So it was yesterday we came out here and there was nothing underneath the ice, but now the ice has a bunch of stuff in it. You can see it's all watery. Now we gotta hook the hose back up. But anyway, that's kind of fun. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye. Another way to get the water out of the other end is with a shop vac. I went down there, it's melted a little bit. You can see the water in there. I'm gonna hook the shop vac up and I'm gonna hook it up to here. And if I can get water, that'd be great. Okay, so that went for a little bit and now it's completely full and the water's coming out this end, which is easier than having to go down to the other end and mess around with it, but that's pretty interesting. It did take a while for it to get there though. I had to suck all the other water out and make sure it was completely filled. So now this end is hooked to the siphon on the other end and it will continue to pump the water out down that direction. This time I did it with a shop vac, which was kind of interesting. Okay, so with this continuing to run, it'll continue to let water out until it runs out of water again on the other end. And just a couple different ways to do it. One of them you use electricity, one of them you don't. But it's just going to continue to run that water. Now it's got no electricity hooked to it, so it'll just keep going. And anyway, have a good time.